All right, everybody, welcome to Fantasy Football Live with the Fantasy Sports Boss. It is Wednesday, championship week in fantasy football for all the marbles. Hope you're still alive in your leagues. I have one league left. I'm going for all the marbles. This weekend, starting with tomorrow night, Dallas Cowboys and Tennessee Titans. And we have big injury news already with this game. Derrick Henry, the all-pro Derrick Henry, slam dunk running back one for the last 5+ seasons, is doubtful for the game. So Derrick Henry, who he rode the entire season with the risk at 28 years old that he possibly could break down when you needed him the most, has in fact broken down, and Derrick Henry will not be playing. I know he's not declared out yet, but when a player is listed as doubtful, they're most likely not playing. So Derrick Henry won't be in there against Dallas. And then we have to also worry about Tony Pollard, who got in some limited work this week. He's flying to make the trip to Tennessee with Dallas. No guarantee that Tony Pollard plays either. So you have two running backs in this game, two prime running back ones who may not be able to play. Certainly Derrick Henry not going to go, despite having the doubtful tag. Henry's not going to go. Now Tony Pollard could be considered about 50-50. So lots going on today. Derek Carr, of course, gets benched. Lots of injury news. The whole gamut. So, I was a little quiet for a couple of days just because of the holidays, had a lot going on with family and stuff. But I'm here for the last week of the fantasy football season. I can't believe it's almost over. And then once these games are through, preparations begin for next season. Preparations begin for the NFL draft. There's going to be streaming throughout the offseason. Don't you worry. Every week there's going to be at least one stream and likely more. Free agency, all that good stuff. Going to talk about that throughout the course of the offseason. So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. I know it's late in the season, but if you just discovered us, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and then you can join us throughout the offseason and, of course, into next season as well. Going to go over the injury report as we do every Wednesday. Wednesday's the first key injury report of the week, unless the teams are playing on Thursday, and that comes out, a couple of days earlier. But certainly a lot going on. Going to touch base on all those big names. And, of course, Tua Tagovailoa, another big one. He is out. Teddy Bridgewater will start. Did a video earlier today talking about how Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's value does not really change much at all with Teddy Bridgewater, who's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. We've seen Bridgewater have success as a starter. Certainly he's a very accurate quarterback. That's always been his strength. Doesn't throw the ball down the field much, but Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle should both get theirs in terms of numbers this week. So let's talk about the Derek Carr thing. This one was obvious. This one was coming from a mile away. Josh McDaniels is going to want his own guy in there. Derek Carr's, has a big contract. I think the cap implications certainly came into play when it came to deciding to bench him when they did. If Carr wound up playing the rest of the season, the final 2 games, and got hurt, then his contract becomes fully guaranteed. So in order to try to get out of the contract and risk Carr getting hurt, and maybe even, Carr, okay, maybe he's embellishing an injury so he can take himself out and make his contract guaranteed for next season. Now that's not a possibility. So the Raiders have taken Carr off the field. He's not even going to suit up. He's going to be the third stringer. Chase Garbers is going to be the backup for Jarrett Stidham. And we've seen Jarrett Stidham at times in New England. He can't play. So this is just a complete surrender, white flag, whatever adjective you want to give it, against the San Francisco 49ers of all teams to throw Jarrett Stidham to the Wolves against the San Francisco 49ers. Downright ridiculous. I understand if they don't want Carr long-term, why they made the move. It's still not a good look. You hate to see it. Derek Carr is a good dude. He's very durable, always out there. He's been banged up a lot the last couple of years, but he keeps showing up every week, and he fights to the last play. He's sort of like a Joe Burrow light. Doesn't run hardly at all. Fairly accurate. Has guts. Takes the big hit. Willing to stand in the pocket, take the NFL punishment that comes along with it. But Derek Carr now, his career with the Raiders looks to be over after 9 seasons. And certainly he's going to find a spot. He's going to find – listen, the New York Jets, maybe the New York Jets take a look at Derek Carr, and he will shake free. He's going to be available. The New Orleans Saints, we got to see what happens with Sean Payton. Maybe they take a look at Derek Carr. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if Tom Brady doesn't end up there, maybe they take a look at Derek Carr. The New England Patriots, there's going to be plenty of teams. Carolina Panthers, if they need a placeholder for a couple of years while they await whichever quarterback they wind up drafting, maybe that's an option as well. So there's certainly going to be a lot of opportunities for Derek Carr to land on his feet somewhere. But the biggest takeaway fantasy football wise is Davante Adams owners are screwed, and Davante Adams over the last 3 weeks has been the epitome, the definition of a season ender. So is Justin Herbert. Adams and Justin Herbert, your classic season ending players, big name fantasy players who are expected to do a lot of big things this season and have shit the bed, face planted, whatever you want to call it, when you needed them the most. I mean, it's almost pathetic right now with Davante Adams. 10 points, 7 points, and I believe it was, 4 points the last game. Just a disaster all the way around. I don't know if he's hurt. Carr hasn't been playing well, but he's been playing with Carr all season. So for the way the numbers have dropped off, it's stark, beyond stark. And of course, it comes at the worst time when you need Adams to clinch your fantasy football playoff matchups. And then you have Justin Herbert, has Keenan Allen back, has Mike Williams back, still has Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, Josh Palmer, all of these weapons. And he puts up against the Indianapolis Colts single digits. Like, how is that even possible? So Justin Herbert, listen, next season, his value is going to drop sharply. It might drop so much that he's attractive next season. Same thing with Deshaun Watson. Those are two guys whose value is sinking next season. Whereas Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, their value is going the other way, positive direction. So it's going to be interesting to see. If you decide to wait on drafting a quarterback next year, you're going to have some really well-priced players who have upside, such as Justin Herbert. I don't know if he's just not, if the rib fracture has been a season-long issue for him, whether he's not jiving with Coach Staley, I don't know what it is. But Justin Herbert has been pathetic. He really has been. And he's, again, a definition of a season ender. No doubt about it. So now, as far as the Raiders, what are the Raiders going to do without Derek Carr next season? The Tom Brady rumors are just going to grow. We've heard, we heard those reports that Brady, Dana White, UFC owner or commissioner, whatever his title is, said that Brady was going to the Raiders until John Gruden nixed it. Do they revisit those talks? Mark Davis, certainly interested in the pizzazz, the attention that a Tom Brady would supply. Do they reopen communications with Brady? I don't think Brady's going back to the Bucs. I really don't. I think that ship has sailed. I think Tampa Bay is ready to move on. Does he go back to New England? Does he go to the Raiders? Does he go to the New Orleans Saints, who rumors are abounding now that Sean Payton is going to go back to the Saints? That's a possibility. So there's going to be a lot of movement this offseason. It's going to be wild. Peyton, Tom Brady together in New Orleans, that's possible. Tom Brady going with his old offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, to the Raiders, that is possible as well. So, there's going to be a lot of moving parts to this. And, do the Raiders just simply draft a quarterback? Certainly they could. They're not positioned near the top of the draft to get one of those, one of the top guys there, which does lead me to believe that maybe they are interested in Tom Brady. Maybe they're going to swing a trade for somebody. I don't know. Maybe a Gardner Minshew appeals to them. Gardner Minshew, who could start for probably more than half the teams in this league. Maybe he's an option. But the bottom line for this season, the rest of this season, the Fantasy Football Championship, is that Davante Adams owners are in a world of trouble with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. We've seen Stidham play in New England. It wasn't pretty. I know McDaniels had him in New England. Maybe he has some faith in him and is going to tailor the offense for Stidham. I don't know. But it's going to be scary for Davante Adams owner. And even if I don't even know how many Davante Adams owners are still alive in their leagues because of how bad he's been the last couple of weeks. But, it was ugly, to say the least. All right, so wanted to go through the injury report. Like I said, a lot of big names. So Derrick Henry That's a big one. Tony Pollard, probably 50-50 to play. Not sure he's going to be able to get in there. You hear like ominous stuff coming out of with Pollard. We're going to see how he is. He's making the flight, but we're going to work him up in warm up, see if he's ready. It doesn't sound great. So if you're a Tony Pollard owner, this is not what you want to hear for sure. Now, Tua Tagovailoa, talked about that. That's a scary situation. A lot of big news items today. So Tagovailoa, another concussion. That might even be his third concussion this season. Aaron Rodgers was with Pat McAfee today, and he said, listen, he's got to sit down. There's no sense in having Tua Tagovailoa out there anymore. It's not safe. He suffered the concussion multiple times this season. Through the 3 interceptions against Green Bay, he looked off. I mean, Tagovailoa has played well all season, but there was something amiss in that game. He was just missing guys by a mile, and now we know why. He suffers a concussion. I doubt he plays again this season. Really bad break for Miami, who's had a nice season, exceeded expectations, both in real life and in fantasy football, whether it's Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, all of those guys exceeded expectations this season. Teddy Bridgewater, though, can hold down the fort. Like I said before, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, I don't think it hurts their value much by any means. All right, so James Conner did not take part in the walkthrough. He's sick. Don't know. We never know. When a guy's sick, is it COVID? Is it the flu? Stomach bug? Who knows? We don't hear about COVID anymore. So James Conner, just got to see if he's able to get back on the field. I think he'll be fine. And listen, James Conner, I've been the biggest critic of James Conner. He's been fantastic. He's been right there as one of the most productive running backs in fantasy football over the last month and a half. Talking about James Conner, the guy's got a nose for the end zone. He always has. They're riding him heavily. He's the only Cardinal really doing squat right now. Colt McCoy, clear concussion protocol. Thankfully, if you're a DeAndre Hopkins owner, you're a Hollywood Brown owner, you have to be thankful that at least Colt McCoy is going to play this week. Jalen Hurts did not practice with the shoulder. I think the Eagles are going to hold him out another week. Gardner Minshew, perfect replacement if you were a Hurts owner. Minshew, I believe it was 24 fantasy points. He did turn it over 3 times. So that was the thing with Minshew. He tends to turn the ball over, has a couple of bad reads per game that undermines his outing. But overall, Minshew, who, considering he's hardly played this season, it was a good outing for him. Tyler Higbee, rest day for the Rams, no issue there. Jonnu Smith, concussion. You weren't playing him anyway for New England. So Lamar Jackson, knee injury. Doesn't look like he's going to go again this week. So it certainly is looking like a very ugly ending fantasy football-wise for Lamar Jackson. Had the back-to-back 40-plus fantasy point games in September. Looked like he was going to take the league by storm. The MVP, Jackson, was there, and then the bottom fell out. Almost from the moment Rashad Bateman was lost for the season and Mark Andrews got banged up, it was over for Lamar Jackson. The numbers sank. He was in the mid-teens every game, if that. Really, really disappointing. He had the one good game against Tampa Bay, but very, very disappointing, stretch of season for Lamar Jackson. And I do wonder if he's going to be back. And there's another player. Listen, if Lamar Jackson shakes free, Josh McDaniels will be all over that in a second. No doubt about it. So I almost broke my TV with the Broncos defense playing a key role in obliterating my fantasy playoff championship hopes. So yeah, Justin Livingston, thank you for that comment. I've heard this a lot. That was unbelievable. So I don't know who it was. Somebody messaged me that right after that game and said, I was 2 points. My opponent was finished. He had nobody left. And all I had left was the Broncos defense. But he said, I had people over. It was the holiday. I forgot to bench the Broncos defense. Because the move there is if you're up by, whether it's a point, 2 points, whatever, and your opponent's done and you have the defense left, you bench the defense. Because God forbid they put up negative points, you lose. Well, this person who messaged me that day did not bench the Broncos defense. They scored negative points. The most ridiculous game defense for a defensive unit this season by a mile against a Rams team that had basically laid down weeks ago. Nobody's healthy. Baker Mayfield off the street a couple of weeks earlier, and they put up over 50 points against the Broncos. So this guy lost because he forgot with a 2-point lead to bench the Broncos defense, and that's what happened. Holy crap. There were a lot of really, really bad losses, bad beats with the Broncos, bad beats with DeAndre Hopkins. 1 catch on 10 targets. I mean, you can't make this up. Bad beats if you played against Cam Akers. Already did the video today. He is a league winner. How does the guy go from being the first trending topic of the entire fantasy football season, the Thursday night opener against Buffalo when he didn't start the game and Darrell Henderson did, to now the hero who is clinching leagues left and right? And he gets the Chargers this week. The Chargers, who don't stop anybody. Cam Akers is going to go wild again. So whether he needed to work off rust from the torn Achilles, whatever it was, just crazy stuff in that Broncos Rams game. Nathaniel Hackett put out of his misery, totally deserved to get fired. It was ridiculous. I mean, there's a guy who has to stay a coordinator. We see it all the time, whether it's North Turner, Romeo Crennel, Wade Phillips, guys who just, Jason Garrett, who are better as coordinators, can't hack it as coaches. Nathaniel Hackett, they did him a favor. And that is the single worst team. If you're a prospective head coach looking at jobs around the league, that is the worst possible spot with Russell Wilson and the ridiculous amount of cap space that he's taking up over the next 4 seasons. It's just ridiculous what's going on there. And the Broncos, ever since John Elway retired and Peyton Manning, that did work. It brought him a Super Bowl, but it was really, almost in spite of Manning, who had nothing left at that point. They have gotten it wrong completely in Denver. It's insane. Paxton Lynch, whoever they bring in, just a complete, utter disaster. That offense is just an embarrassment. It really is. All right, so we talked about Derrick Henry is listed as doubtful. That's huge. No other way to slice it. Henry, the long season has gotten to him. He's 28. He's injured. This is what you signed up for. I told you not to draft Derrick Henry. When you get to be his age, 28 years old, by the time December comes around, you're on fumes. You just don't have anything left. All that pounding, the career of taking all that pounding starts to show up, and now we see why Henry couldn't make it to the finish line. And next season at 29, no way in hell am I even going near him. So Tony Pollard listed as questionable. Both are expected to play, but how much work is Tony Pollard going to get? That's the $1 million question. Ezekiel Elliott, listen, I have to be fair. We all have to be fair. Ezekiel Elliott's played well. He's made good around the goal line all season long, piling up the touchdowns. He's still got a little bit of juice left in those legs, certainly around the goal line, but doing a good job. Derry Welsh, what's up, boss? Who you got? Curtis Samuel, Adam Thielen. Got to go Adam Thielen. I don't trust that Commanders offense. Now Carson Wentz is back, but I still think he's garbage. I don't trust Carson Wentz for sure. No practice we talked about Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. Let's see, Josh. Okay, we don't care about Josh Reynolds, Najee Harris. Personal day today. Deontay Johnson was limited. Deontay Johnson's actually playing well himself. He's fought through injuries, so I got to give him that. Jerry Jeudy was with the trainer today. He's been banged up. But here's another thing. Jerry Jeudy, when I talked about Cam Akers as a league winner, somebody else mentioned Jerry Jeudy. Yes, Jerry Jeudy, since the end of October, has been fantastic on a per-game basis. He really has been. He's finally showing that Alabama first-round pedigree that he, that every bit the talent that he was in college, he's starting to show that now. Talking about Jerry Jeudy. The track record of Alabama receivers in the NFL is very, very good. And, maybe it just took Jeudy a little while to figure it out, but he has figured it out. He's been fantastic, been really good. So I like the way things are going for him. Chase Claypool did not practice. Justin Fields, really, he needs some more weapons. I'm playing him in my championship game because they're playing Detroit. He destroyed Detroit last time they played. Climate-controlled environment. I'm riding Fields all the way. He only had 11 points last week. Luckily, I survived that and was mad. Last week I had Ramondre Stevenson, Justin Fields, and I still was able to win, thank God, and advance to the championship that I'm going to be going into this week. I'm a slight favorite, but I'm riding Justin Fields against Detroit, in Detroit, climate-controlled, fast turf, all the way with him, just because the Lions defense is so bad. Greg Dulcich did not practice today. He had a hamstring injury. Russell Wilson is still there. Latavius Murray didn't practice either. You're still going to use, Jerry Jeudy, but everybody else, you don't want to use any of those guys for sure. Sam Darnold or Tyler Huntley. My league's retarded semis are this week. Yeah, we talked about this. I can't believe that your semis is this week. That's crazy. I'd have to say Huntley because he runs more. Talk about ridiculous. The Carolina Panthers putting up, over 300 yards rushing in a throwback performance to defeat the Detroit Lions. Bad loss by Detroit last week. That was as old school football as you possibly could get. And that's a team that's trying to hide Sam Darnold. So I would go with Tyler Huntley, even though he hasn't been great either. Let's see. Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was not at practice. He has a personal issue. You never know what the hell's going on with Alvin Kamara. I mean, the guy's a little bit of a nutcase. He's going to be a lot of trouble. He's got trouble, possible suspension staring him in the face next season. He's going to be 27. I'm completely out on Alvin Kamara next season. Even if he drops in drafts, I want no part of that. Tyler Lockett did everything in practice. He looked great, according to Pete Carroll. It was a walkthrough, so it's not really indicative of whether he really, truly will be able to go. But at least, he has a shot. He definitely has a shot. Chris Olave was back at practice today, so that's good. It looks like he'll be able to come back. And Olave's been disappointed. There's no doubt about it. He got off to a really good start to the season, but when they really needed him to step up with Jarvis Landry out, Michael Thomas out, he just didn't do it. Come on, Raiders, what are you doing to me? I'm not sure about starting Adams. No, hey, listen, it is an absolute free wind. Just stated the obvious. Do you have the guts to bench Davante Adams with Jarrett Stidham? Adams has been 10 points, 7 points, and I think 4 points the last 3 weeks. Just a complete and utter disaster. I have no answers when it comes to him with Davante Adams. I don't think he's hurt. I haven't heard anything with him, but just awful to the point that, yes, with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback, you might want to think about benching Davante Adams. Austin Eckler limited with the knee. Austin Eckler, just like Christian McCaffrey, those are the two big surprises for me physically that made it to the end of the season. Didn't expect either guy to stay healthy, especially Eckler coming off that massive workload last season. He's managed to stay healthy. All props to him. Next season, McCaffrey will be 27. Eckler, I believe, is going to be 28. I'm probably out on both of those guys as well. Head coach said they wanted to see what they have with the rookie QBs. Why Carr? No, the reason why Carr was benched is because if he gets hurt in the next 2 games, his contract is guaranteed. The rest of his contract is guaranteed. So they could spin it any way they want. It has nothing to do with Jarrett Stidham. Has absolutely everything to do with finances. They're trying to get out of that contract, and they will. Derek Carr's never going to play another down for this team. What's good, Buzz? Championship week. Appreciate all your advice. Yes. Oh, anybody south, you got it, man. I'm glad you made it to the championship. I know the numbers have been dwindling in the chat as the season's gone on. Guys have been eliminated. So I figured that was going to happen. But next season we'll start fresh. Off season, heavy into the NFL draft, all the off season moves. So still going to have chats and streams and whatnot. Maybe talk about some other sports, baseball, fantasy baseball. Maybe dive into that. Certainly when the NCAA tournament comes along, anybody who gambles for that, I will be talking a lot about the NCAA tournament as well. 1-1 last week, and if my second, hoping to go 2 for 2. Yeah, you know what? My other team got a couple of weeks ago, but the one league that I had a buy in, I'm in the finals. So I'm pretty stoked about that. What do you think about starting Garrett Wilson against Seahawks? Oh, I definitely will start Garrett Wilson. You have to start Garrett Wilson with Mike freaking White back under center. Huge boost to Garrett Wilson because Mike White, they have a nice thing going between the two of them. Definitely going to get you draft book when it's available on Amazon. Yes, Derry, NFL draft guide available in February. Fantasy football draft guide available probably April. That's where I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking at in terms of schedule. So I will have a link up on the homepage of the channel here. You can also get it on Amazon. However you want to do it, it's going to be available. The NFL prospect guide will be available probably hoping the end of January, early February. I'm working on the offensive guards now. I'm almost done with the offense. And then I have to move into the defense and do all those players. A lot of work. It's a lot of tape, a lot of games to watch, a lot of grades, all that stuff. But I'm getting there. Geno, Mike White, or Minshew? I'm not liking Geno Smith, that's for sure. Mike White, I'm leaning toward Mike White. I think Mike White's been fantastic when he's played. He's been fantasy friendly. That's why I think I would go with Minshew, possibly Minshew as well. Definitely not Geno Smith. I would say Mike White, slight lean. Will Zay Jones rebound this week against Houston, or should I trust Marquise Brown? Do not trust Marquise Brown. No, Justin. The problem is Colt McCoy under center is very heavy into DeAndre Hopkins. If you look at the history with McCoy under center, it was Hopkins as the leading guy, not Hollywood Brown, who did his best work with Kyler Murray. I would write both Garrett Wilson, DJ Chark. They have excellent matchups. I'm not opposed to either one of those guys. They both have really good matchups. Brock Purdy, full participant in practice. Say, boy, he's been good. Mr. Irrelevant. He's been good. That team is scary. Deebo Samuel has a chance to practice Thursday. That 49ers team is scary. You've heard me say all season, I really respect this team. I think the 49ers are legit. I think they would absolutely smash the Vikings. I think the Vikings are soft. The Eagles, that's a whole nother story, but I think they can give them a game. Hasn't been Judy's fault. It's been Russell either forcing the ball to Sutton when he's obviously not open throwing. Picks getting sacked. Judy looks great. If you watch this, yes, no, Steve, for sure. I mean, last couple of years he wasn't good, and that's fair. He hasn't been good. He's been good this season. Like I said, I think the light bulb went on for Judy, and he's playing well now. So, he's definitely going to start him. Colt McCoy I talked about. He's at concussion protocol. Derek Carr. Yeah, I still can't believe. I think that the Derek Carr thing kind of just ran its course. Hey, boss, thank you for all your help and advice. My playoff hopes ended in week 15 when both Chubb and Mixon shit the bed for me. Yeah, listen, Nick Chubb, it hasn't been good. It's Deshaun Watson killed this team. He was more shaky, rusty, not ready than I even anticipated. And now I think next season he'll be fine. I'll be back in on Deshaun Watson next season, especially the vast discount he's going to provide. But that definitely hurt Nick Chubb for sure. And also with Nick Chubb, long season for him. He didn't miss any time in injury. He's missed time in injuries pretty much every year of his career. So if this is the first time, the extra game as well. It's a long season for these guys, these running backs. And I think that's caught up to him as well. Amon-Ra, Devontae Smith. You have to play Devontae Smith. That's what won me my matchup last week. Devontae Smith. Holy crap. He 28 fantasy points won me the matchup. Judy, Watson, Dobbs. Need two wideouts. You're definitely playing Amon-Ra and Devontae Smith. Easy. No doubt about it. I think Watson's not going to play, or he might be limited. Alan Lazard looks like a good play this week under that scenario. As far as the running backs, Saquon. I love Saquon against the Colts. You're definitely playing Saquon. I would say Zonovan Knight and Saquon for your two backs, Amon-Ra, Smith for your wideouts, and Judy for your flex. 100%. No hesitation on any of those picks. I'm benching Chubb and Kamara this week and go Robinson and Algier. Who would have thought you would say that, right? Back in September. Robinson and Algier over Kamara and Chubb. Crazy. The Cam Akers thing is the exclamation point on this entire season, considering where it started. Really want to play A.J. Dillon, but I'm going to have to take out Swift, Walker, or Stevenson. Yeah, you got to play all of them. Stevenson, it was bad. He almost cost me the matchup last week. And then he fumbles. I mean, my God. He's just so talented, though. You have to put him out there. And he ran for 170 plus yards the week before that. So you got to play the guy. No Christian Watson, no Aaron Rodgers, who's got a knee injury. Rodgers is going to be out there. As aloof and as crazy as he is, he does play every week. So you have to expect Rodgers to be out there. Let me see. Antonio Gibson, not a lot of concern according to Ron Rivera, and they are starting Carson Wentz. Zay or Big Mike, Schultz or Kmet, Fields or T-Law. You're definitely going Kmet. Schultz has been out of the offense for a couple of weeks now. He's just not even really been a factor. You're going to go Kmet because they're playing indoors. Detroit, horrible defense. Fields has got to throw to somebody. It's going to be Kmet. Fields or T-Law, you got to go T-Law. He's hot as hell. Throw out last week's game in that monsoon, the rain. And I'm starting Fields myself, but if I had T-Law, I would start T-Law. Zay or Big Mike. I don't think you can go wrong either one. Maybe slightly in Zay, but I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Let's see. Antonio Gibson, foot knee issue. He's going to play. No issue there. Devontae Parker didn't practice. Hunter Henry, I think, was limited today. Mecole Hardman will be available Sunday. So Mecole Hardman is making his return. If you need a flex, Mecole Hardman, he might be an option there. All right. So that's it for the injury report. Do you think it's a good play to start Kittle and flex Ingram? That's a great play. And George Kittle, league-winning tight end. He has been unbelievable. It was Kittle that put me away in my other league a couple of weeks ago. He was ridiculous this past week again. He's got a really good thing going with Purdy. No Deebo Samuel. If Deebo doesn't play again this week, then I think, again, Kittle's going to have a huge day. Haskins or Hubbard? You got to go Hubbard. I mean, he's coming off a 120-plus yard game. You got to go Hubbard. I'm not trusting Haskins in the fantasy football championship. I can't do it. There's just no way. You got to go Hubbard, especially Malik Willis, that quarterback. We knew he was going to be a project, but damn, he can't throw. I mean, it's bad, Malik Willis. He's basically another Zach Wilson. That's what it's already starting to look like with Malik Willis for sure. So anyway, so tomorrow, Thursday, I'm going to do the fantasy cast, Cowboys, Titans, last fantasy cast of the season. Make sure you tune in for that. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. Going to do that. Watch the game with you guys, probably the first quarter, maybe the first half, depending how the game is going. I don't have any players going tomorrow. My opponent has Tony Pollard. Going to see if Pollard's going to play or if he's going to be limited. So that's interesting to me. But here we are. We're at the finish line. It's been a long season. Stream after stream after stream. We got through it. Those who are still in it, this is it for all the marbles. And really, when you lose in a fantasy football championship, it could be devastating. It's just such a long season. You're right there. I remember almost every defeat I've had in a fantasy football championship round. So I'm overdue for a title in this league that I'm going to be playing for the title this weekend. So here we go. Let's do this. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Fantasy Cast. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. More videos on the way tomorrow. Everybody have a great night. I will chat with you then. Take care, guys.